Hello, Dr. Shepard. Just a little quick video reflection here. Starting off, what do I think went well? I feel like my lecture on the whole went very well. I did a lot of work prepping it and making sure that it was ready for the class and being able to present this difficult topic. I was really proud of myself how I kept the conversation moving and always had like something to do next, even though whether it was on my time frame or the classes, I think it went really well. And I also loved how engaged the class was with the topic. I know I didn't focus on human rights as much as I could have, but I know um, utilizing world peace and especially the media aspects definitely made it more relatable and very tangible, kind of like the Barton and the Bickmore readings. A couple of things I could have done to improve as a facilitator. I feel like I could have taken more of a command or a control of the lecture. And I know I was very nervous to interrupt anyone and it ran long because I wanted everyone to make sure they had their thoughts heard, which is great in a classroom and make sure all those students feel empowered. But I also don't have that time in a 40-minute class to have everyone talk and everyone state their piece and get all their thoughts out. That's just not practical if I ever want to get anything done. So I think helping steer the conversation and helping guide it and keep it relevant and focused, even though I know in this class we have many different avenues that we can follow. I think just helping like lead the conversation and control the side conversations and the talking and the tangents that we go on could have been something I could have done better during this. What would I sorry. What did you learn about the required materials and theories by serving as a discussion facilitator? I read a lot more in detail and I reread it 4 or 5 times instead of my usual 2, just to make sure I had a firm grasp on all these topics. I know it was a lot of reading, so I had to start early and I had to look at it as often as I could just to make sure that I was fully ready. I don't like to turn in a project that's half finished, so I wanted to make sure that I was completely ready to go before I even submitted it to you to preview. So I think it really helped my understanding of this topic, and it will be easier for me in the long run to pull from this lecture, maybe compared to others because of the time dedicated to these 3 readings and having to give a lecture on it. It's kind of like a jigsaw almost, where you have to become an expert in one aspect and then help teach others. So I really like that. What would you do differently now that the week is over? I would probably, what did my notes say? I would probably spend more time prepping my questions. I feel like there was a little bit of downtime in between when people read the questions and when they actually began talking in their small groups. So that made me wonder if my questions were confusing to a couple people or poorly worded. That just had me worried for a second there. So I know I tried to rephrase the questions or maybe add a couple questions, and that could have overwhelmed my peers as well. So definitely really diving into my questions and make sure I had the proper rhetoric would be something I would change. I really liked where the conversations flowed and that couple people picked up on the social media aspect of it right away, even before I got to my presentation. How they were already talking about how Facebook has influenced their views on human rights and world peace and all that. I think it really helped the conversation flow and really build my confidence going into that presentation. And questions I wanted to raise, could not find the right time. I know I touched on it just a bit. This was around the issue, world peace, and how we are to solve it. I mentioned that everything is thrown on educators to solve society's problems, especially social studies teachers, but they don't give us the time and resources. So I thought the conversation could have moved in that direction, but didn't, even though I mentioned it, which is fine. I still loved where our conversation went, and it was very fruitful. I I know for a pre-service teacher like myself, it may have been helpful to get their perspective on how educators are expected to do all these things in a limited amount of time. So that could have been helpful for me and potentially Micah, depending on what his thoughts were. Um, and since this session, I've been thinking about what I just talked about, how educators are being tasked with fixing all of humanity's problems, and how it could have the conversation could have steered in that direction. So I just want to ponder some more and do a lot more research into why educators are at the forefront of society's problems and how to fix them, and why doesn't it start with the families or with government or in smaller community aspects? Why does it always have to be in schools? So that's something that I would have been wondering about since our class. And overall, I think it went really well, and the project was not as daunting as it seemed right at the beginning of the semester. Like, even going into it, I was like 35 minutes. That's gonna be like forever for me to fill. Like, I don't know if I'll be able to do it. Like, I know I'm bringing in some videos and like adjusting my small group discussion time, but overall, my project went an hour and 5 minutes, hour and 10 minutes. Um, so it was not as difficult as I initially thought, and I thought that was really nice. I know in past classes that you've had the time be longer and the time be shorter, but I really like the 35-minute mark. While it seems challenging, as soon as you get into it, if you spend time with the material, it's really not that difficult. So I know I still put a lot of prep time into it. Like I said, I read the articles 4 or 5 times each and had my notes and had that planning preview session with you just to make sure everything went off without a hitch. And I feel like it really paid off. And I'm really looking forward to the rest of the class. I've learned so much, and I think learning about world peace and human rights really has helped me grow as an educator, and I'm excited for what the rest of the semesters holds. Um, so I think that covers all of it. If there's anything else, please let me know. But I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video and for helping me throughout this entire process. Thank you. Bye.